They say the good things happen in threes. So we're going to present to you 3 exciting new sire prospects, 3 Triple Crown winning champions, 3 Guineas winners, 3 winners of the Cox Plate, and let's add to this 2 Golden Slipper winners, a record-breaking Everest winner, not to mention 5 Royal Ascot winners, 5 champion 2-year-olds, 5 champion 3-year-olds, and last but not least, 5 champion sires. I'd like to welcome you here to Coolmore, Australia. We're sorry we can't have you here on the farm to enjoy our hospitality, but in fairness to all the team here, they've worked hard and tirelessly behind the scenes to bring the Stallion roster to you at home. So I'd like you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. We've got some very exciting interviews from some of the top people in the sport, both locally here in Australia and overseas. So I'm going to take the time now to introduce you to James and to Gerard, who are going to run through the stallions.
Thanks, Tom, and what a pleasure it is to be here at this magnificent property at Jerry's Plains in the New South Wales Hunter Valley. Just driving through the gates and seeing breeding legends immortalised in bronze statues in Costa del Lago, Fastnet Rock and the incomparable Dane Hill. Driving up to these barns which house world-leading stallions and stallion prospects. And we really wish you could be with us here today. But to run through this full roster here at Coolmore, we have James Bester joining us, and we start, James, with a horse, well, that trainer Bob Baffert described as the Mr. Universe of the equine world, the only US undefeated Triple Crown champion ever, Justify.
Thank you, Jared. And what more magnificent a beast with which to begin than this towering, muscular Adonis of a horse, as Blood Horse Magazine's Steve Haskin described him. He's all horse, for sure, with plenty of leg, but big and leggy in the way that Usain Bolt is big and leggy, with all the same athleticism, all the same commanding physical presence.
John, they just wanted us to talk a little about your commitment to Coolmore's commitment to the Australian breeding industry. That commitment is obvious, both in terms of the stallions like American Pharaoh and Justify that you're sending down here, and in terms of the broodmares you're buying to support those stallions. You sent Atlantic Jewel down here and bought the dam of Loving Gabby, but all of these top-class race fillies off the racetrack, I mean, the likes of Sunlight and Global Glamour's 3 Candy, Invincibella and Champagne Cuddles, Invincible Star, these are the best fillies retiring off the track every year. Obviously, your commitment in buying those sorts of horses to support Justify is absolute.
It's so unusual to win a Triple Crown. People have to realize there's only been 13 of them ever, and this fella is an unbeaten Triple Crown winner. You know, you could be talking about he could be a Northern Dancer or he could be a Sunday Silence. He could be the next big thing. The way we look at stallions, if you take the Hancock's law, which we often apply to stallions, he fulfills all the criteria there. The one thing that you may ask is, why didn't he do anything as a 2-year-old? Well, the Winstar people have always told us, and Bob Baffert also backs it up, that he had shown a lot of ability as a 2-year-old, but he just didn't get to the track. So it was very important for us that we had to know that. We've committed a lot of our own best broodmares in Europe and America to him also. Another point in the Hancock law is that a horse must prove that he can stay 1.25 miles. Then, as a physical, when Aidan O'Brien went to Kentucky to the yearling sale, he went and saw Justify for the first time. He rang me up. He was completely blown away that we could have a horse that looked like a big sprinter that could stay 1.5 miles. It's so very unusual. So he fulfills the good looks and the masculine type of horse that you must have for a good stallion. Then he has the obvious pedigree advantages through Scat Daddy, and we think that'll work very well on the grass, and there's proof of it, so we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, as it were. The other thing too is there's too much talk these days about parochial stallions. There's no such thing as colonial, parochial, or whatever you like. You take the Arrowfield's next potential star, He's by the Northern Dancer line through Dane Hill, and he's out of His Highness the Aga Khan Galileo Mare. Now, you may call him an Australian bred, but for me, he's not. The world will get fixed sooner than everybody thinks. And when these justified type animals go to the yearling sales down there, the international people are going to be interested in justifies and things of that nature. And the way this game is going, the people that are going to survive, I believe, are the people that have the international outlook.
Yes, John, you touched on something earlier there, which is very interesting to me, that here we have a horse who stayed 1.5 miles in the Belmont, but had the speed to blast out of the gates. Horses couldn't match him for speed. From that Scat Daddy line, which is a speed line, he has every right to be a speed horse. And indeed, Henry Field told me that when he bought this horse as a yearling, he insisted on the horse because he looked to him like a golden slipper type horse from a speed line.
He's exactly right there. Fair dues to Henry. And we actually wanted to buy him, but our learned vets turned them down. So Henry got lucky there, and fair dues to him, and we had to pay the price.
And as you mentioned earlier, colonialism and parochialism, that is just the way of the world. And similarly, when top-class Australian horses go to America or Europe, they are discarded. We learn to live with that. I agree 100% with you. Now, obviously, you've bought all of these fabulous race fillies that are going to him. You're sending the best of your own broodmare band to him. You believe fully in Justify. You obviously believe in the Australian industry as well.
Obviously, and everybody does. The world is getting to be a smaller place now. But you know, there are significant events that happen every now and again. Say, for example, when my father-in-law got involved with Northern Dancer and look the effect that that's had. For example, then you follow up, look at what Sunday Silence did in Japan. These are American dirt horses. This horse is pretty unique in the way that he won the Triple Crown. You have to be so tough to be able to do that. That's why there are only 13 of them.
And indeed, from a sire line, the Scat Daddy sire line, that has had such success on the turf at Royal Ascot. Obviously, this is a sire line that adapts every bit as well, if not better, to the turf.
You're absolutely right there, and that's what made him a nap for us in Europe as well as in America.
A feature of another Kentucky Derby and Triple Crown winner, American Pharaoh, is that despite that dirt profile, he himself has had the majority of his winners, black type horses, stakes winners, and best horses on turf. Again, which just shows that it's a global, international racing scene, and that drawing too much of a distinction between dirt and turf is probably a mistake.
It's probably far more likely that Justify should get grass horses than American Pharaoh. That was the reason that we just had to have them. That he's shouting grass, really, and all his racing was done on the dirt. The other thing too is it's only a matter of time before American Pharaoh will get a good dirt horse, and he's had some success in Japan.
He's two very good dirt horses in Japan.
Yes, and again, that emphasizes the fact that top-class horses like Northern Dancer, who raced on the dirt, are equally capable of getting champions on the turf. And indeed, you and Vincent O'Brien built monuments like Coolmore and Ballydoyle on the back of an American dirt horse, Kentucky Derby winner Northern Dancer. As you said, Japan built an entire racing and breeding industry on the back of a Kentucky Derby winning dirt horse. Hopefully the Australian breeding industry will come to this realization and realize what an amazing fee they are being offered Justify.
Well, it's an opportunity really for the serious breeders to avail of him while he's there.
As far as all of these champion fillies off the track that you're buying for Justify, do you foresee that support continuing? Do you intend to continue to support Justify to the same extent going forward?
After the first few years, Justify will be on his own then, and it's quite obvious we'll continue to support him. If he delivers, we'll support him if he deserves to be supported. But for me, he's a no-brainer at this time, and he has to be a nap. Of all the stallions that we've ever put to stud, he fulfills all the criteria that we look for on an international basis, which is where we see the game going.
I'll start with what might seem a stupid question of an unbeaten Triple Crown winner, but how good was he? Did we see the best of him?
First time I saw him, I looked at him and I thought, look at the way he's bred. I wonder how far he'll go, because he's built like this massive quarter horse. He was just incredible the first time I ever worked him at Santa Anita. I had him at Los Alamitos breezing, but the thing about Justify is that every time he came on the racetrack, every morning, somebody would ask me, Bob, who is that? I mean, that, you know, he's one of those horses. He had so much presence. And then as soon as he ran, I remember his first race, I thought, you know, I think he can win. And then the way he did it, I think his first race, Justify, proved to us, to me, that this guy he's a Kentucky Derby type horse. He's just so superior. And that's one thing about the great horses I've had, and is that they just, you see it right away. I mean, there's no secrets.
Remarkable. Do you believe there was more to come? Did we see the best of him?
Yeah, I think he was going to be one of the better horses I'd ever trained. I just feel that there was the sky was the limit. I couldn't see anything out there that was even close to him. I don't think I will ever train another horse that has the conformation and the breeding. He's just so beautiful. I mean, his hind end is just massive. I came from the quarter horse world. Believe me, he would have won the All-American fraternity. It's like a $2 million race. I mean, he's that quick. He's that versatile, that he's quick on his feet and just gets running really fast. I mean, I could have trained him to win a 870 race or whatever, but he is just I mean, when people call me, they said, I went to see Justify. They could not believe when they pulled him out. I mean, his presence that he has.
Yeah, well, what about turf, Bob? You always thought American Pharoah would go on turf and went on record as saying that. What do you think Justify's prospects might have been on turf?
You know, people have always asked me, you need to bring a horse to Ascot. Now, that would have been the horse to take to Ascot. I think he would have been just phenomenal on it. But, you know, the really great ones, they can run on anything. And that's what I've found. You know, he could have run on turf, dirt, he'd off track. He brought his track with him.
What do you think of the foals?
Well, James, they have lovely quality. They have great strength, correct, good bone, very uncomplicated, good movers. Just very straightforward horses to be around, you know. Like himself, you'd imagine you'd be in the presence of greatness when you're around him. So hopefully, with the crop of mares he got, like in my career, I've been over Coolmore over 30 years. I've never seen a stallion to get a crop of mares like he has been supported, like. So, and then to get magnificent looking foals his first year. And the biggest compliment he got was he got over 200 mares again his second year. So that says enough that all the big breeders are on him and supporting him when he gets a return book of mares.
And any sign of his physique? He's such a big, strong, with big hind-quartered horse. Do they seem to have physiques?
They have that big hip, rear end and good hind leg, that big ass end, that strength that drives him. That's what they have. And that's very dominant in I'd say, nearly all of them, that rear end with the muscle behind. Well, hopefully that's what he's going to produce for you guys down there. That's the intentions anyway. Listen, overall, they've oozes of quality, correct strength, good movers, very happy with them, uncomplicated horses.
From one Triple Crown winner to another, and the first horse to complete the feat in 37 years when he did so in 2015. An icon, a champion in the US as a 2- and 3-year-old. American Pharoah. And James, a physical specimen, somewhat of a sprinter's physique, how does he compare to Justify? And also Kentucky Derby winners, there's some scepticism as to whether their progeny can be successful on turf.
Well, Bob Baffert is on record as saying that Justify may have been a touch the more brilliant, the more freakishly gifted of the two, but that Pharoah always was and always will be my first love, not least because of the total package he brought to the table, including the 2-year-old championship and Breeders' Cup Classic with which he bookended his Triple Crown triumphs.
Breeders' Cup winner, a horse of a lifetime, American Pharoah.
On the score of Kentucky Derby winners, I'd point out that there have been 144 of those, and that Triple Crown winners, of which there have only ever been 13, are an entirely different animal. Let's take a look at American Pharoah himself, the horse who, when history came calling, answered that call, loudly and clearly, ending, as you said, an agonizing 37-year wait for Triple Crown winner number 12. A Triple Crown, to be sure, is achievement enough, but American Pharoah was, lest we forget, also the Eclipse Award-winning champion 2-year-old, Eclipse Award-winning champion 3-year-old, and Horse of the Year. He won 8 races by a total of 38 lengths, 2 Derby lead-ups by more than 14 lengths, and his 3 Triple Crown races by nearly 14 lengths, signing off with a 6.5 length romp against his elders, beating 10 Group 1 winners in record time, thus becoming the first ever American Grand Slam winner. Timeform rated him 138, making him the highest rated horse at stud in Australia. Come to save the sport, he became an American icon, gracing the cover of Sports Illustrated and even Vogue magazines.
In his first season in America, he became champion first crop sire with his 2-year-olds, and he produced stakes winners as well.
His first foals and yearlings made huge prices, as did his first breeze-up 2-year-olds, running times of 10 seconds to the furlong, proving that they could run. His first 2-year-olds, as you said, made him champion first crop sire of America, and included the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint winner 4-wheel drive. Also, Grade 2 Turf winner Sweet Melania, she second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. That first crop included 27 winners, most of them on turf, 11 black type horses, most of them on turf, and 4 stakes winners, 3 of which were on turf. They've trained on too, and those 4 stakes winners have now swelled to 10, the 11 black type horses to 20 black type horses, even in this COVID cut short season. He has winners, stakes winners, graded stakes winners at 2 and 3 on dirt and especially on turf in England, Ireland, France, America and Japan, where 6 of his 8 runners are already winners.
We've seen plenty of his progeny come through the sales rings here in Australia this year. Just how popular have they been?
11 of his yearlings made $400,000 or more. Team Hawkes ended up with 6 of them and are on record as saying they wish they had more. Chris Wallace stable has 6 American Pharoahs, while Peter Moody bought 4. And there'd be few trainers in Australia without at least 1 Pharoah in the yard. His great value at a service fee of only $50,000.
From Triple Crown winners to a trio of first season sires, and now the reigning champion of the Everest. The first colt to win the race, he beat 10 Group 1 winners and returned a Timeform rating of 125. Yes, yes, yes. And James, the Everest, not yet a Group 1 race, not yet a stallion making race, but this horse could very well change that.
Well, many, including we, see the Everest as more than a Group 1, as a super Group 1, if you like. Because while most so-called sire-making races like the Blue Diamond, Golden Slipper, Golden Rose, Coolmore and Caulfield Guineas are restricted by age, the Everest winner has conquered rivals of all ages, both local and international. Yes, 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 as you said, beat 10 Group 1 winners, the like of Santa Ana Lane, Trekking, Nature Strip and Pirata, Redzel, Sunlight and In Her Time, Alizé and Arcadia Queen, and international July Cup winner 10 Sovereigns.
Yes, yes, yes! Wins the Everest!
No Blue Diamond, Golden Slipper, Golden Rose, Coolmore or Guineas winner ever beat a field like that. Most Cox Plate winners never beat a field like that. What's more, he did it in record time, earning from the Sydney Morning Herald's Chris Roots the accolade, perhaps the best sprinter on the planet. Nor was that his first record. As a 2-year-old, he'd won the Group 2 Todman Stakes in record time. And that means faster than Pierrot, Exceed and Excel, Written Tycoon, Vancouver, even Marauding and Luskin Star. He had, as Glenn Boss put it, a turn of speed matched by very few in the last 20 years. And this from a man who rode speedsters like Fastnet Rock and Snitzel, who rode I Am Invincible, all of them leading sires. It's fair to say then, even without mention of his beating Coolmore winner Exceedance, that Yes, Yes, Yes was a legitimate Group 1 class sprinter. As for pedigree, his claim to being one of the fastest ever horses from the Encosta de Lago sire line rests on his time form rating of 125, 3 pounds higher than the 122 rating given Rubik, Northern Meteor and Zoostar from that sire line. And what a speedy female family he boasts. His dam indeed is a half-sister to the dam of In Her Time, herself a dual Group 1 winner of the Lightning and Galaxy. They don't come much faster than that, yet Yes, Yes, Yes so easily beat her in the Everest. And what a beautiful, elegant animal he is, with a lovely head, great scope for a sprinter, good leg, and a fabulous action. And what value at a service fee of $35,000. I wanted to start off by saying, look, obviously as a record-breaking winner of the Todman, Yes, Yes, Yes was a very good 2-year-old. How does he rate amongst all the 2-year-olds you've trained?
Well, he's right up there with the best. It's just a matter of when you want to push an Australian horse. Do you want them as your 2-year-old for the Golden Slipper? Well, yes, we did. We made sure he was peaking at the right time. Very impressive in the Todman. When the barrier draws came out for the Golden Slipper, we've all got hard luck stories or sad stories in racing. That was a sad day to see him draw the outside.
Yeah, certainly the sectionals indicate that he was probably up to winning it.
Yeah, well, obviously the Australian breeders and now around the world, they're recognising speed, and that is one of the signature races. And yeah, to give up a hope in the Golden Slipper like that was disheartening. But we knew we had a horse to come back in the spring with, and we certainly had that.
At what point did you decide that this would be your Everest horse?
Well, I always had in the back of my mind that when you're talking an Everest, you need to persuade the Everest slot holders that you're choosing the right horse, and waiting for as long as you can to make sure that horse is right. Because they're to take on the best of what Australia, or even in that year, an international contingents, the best that the world could bring together for a $14 million race. It's quite extraordinary how it's grown so quickly. And I think on that day, it was easy to see that it was assembling the best race field around. So we had to be convinced that we had the right horse to be able to convince the slot holders that Yes, Yes, Yes is the horse, not just to run in the race, to win the race. The decision was made, and the rest was history.
Yeah, so you had the TJ Smith and Royal Ascot in mind for him before he went amiss. I mean, how do you feel he might have set himself up for those?
Well, based on Nature Strip's ratings and how he got the highest rated sprinter in the world this year, would have to say that Yes, 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 beating Nature Strip on that occasion would have been pretty good chance wherever he went around the world.
Now, you've had a number of colts go to stud and be very successful. I mean, Zoostar and Brazen Boat being just two of them. How would you rank Yes, Yes, Yes in that echelon of horses, Sioux Star, Brazen Bow, and others that have gone to stud?
Well, they were superstars of their years, as Yes, Yes, Yes is of his year. They didn't get the chance to race the older horses under weight for age conditions. They still were very well performed horses and the best of their year. Yes, Yes, Yes did a little bit differently. He beat all of them. He beat the older horses. He beat them at weight for age level. He had the speed, a very athletic horse, very sharp, great temperament, good constitution, everything you need in a champion racehorse.
Well, when you look at the likes of Not a Single Doubt, I'm Invincible, Written Tycoon and Hinchinbrook, there's ample proof you don't have to be a Group 1 winner to be a leading stallion. And James, this striking son of Kinman, Calix, you'd be certainly hoping it's the case with him.
Well, here's a son of Kingman with a blend of precocity, speed and pedigree so reminiscent of another who raced in the same familiar and famous Prince Khalid Abdullah Silks, Danehill himself. More precocious than Danehill, Calix, in trainer John Gosden's words, always had that rare brilliance you only see in champions. He was very fast, a gorgeous looking animal with a lovely mind. John Gosden, of course, also trained Calix's sire, Kingman, whom he described as the most exciting colt I've ever trained, and who is now the young sire sensation of Europe. Not only is Calix Kingman's fastest son, he's also one of the best 2-year-olds ever from the Invincible Spirit sire line that gave Australia I Am Invincible, by the way. An unbeaten, Group 2 winning 2-year-old sprinter, he won his maiden on debut at Newmarket by 5 lengths. Kingman's first winner, he went to Royal Ascot 9 days later with the responsibility of 2 stud futures to secure, his own and that of his sire Kingman, and he delivered in style, winning the meeting's marquee event for 2-year-olds, the Coventry Stakes, most impressively, from triple Group 1 winner Advertise.
Sergei Prokofiev coming home strongly, but Calix won it.
So impressed indeed was Timeform that it rated Calix 120p, which, it explained, matched the average performance required in the past decade to win a Group 1 2-year-old race in Britain and Ireland. But it was Calix's comeback performance as a 3-year-old in the Group 3 Commonwealth Cup trial at Ascot that was, according to Timeform, as striking as any seen in a group class sprint all season, and marked him down as champion sprinter material. Timeform rated that performance 124, Calix's rating as a 3-year-old, a higher rating than that given to Zustar or Russian Revolution, to Pierata. They stand at fees of $110,000, $50,000 and $40,000 respectively, compared with Calix's $16,000 introductory fee. One could rest one's case right there, as leading international bloodstock agent Hubie de Burgh does, in calling Calix one of the most exciting young sires to stud this year. Speed, said Hubie, is the holy grail, and Calix has it in abundance. I think down in Australia, he'll really take off.
So a son of Kingman, a sire making a big impression and is starting to here in Australia as well, James. I saw a filly Dress, trained by Kieran Maher and David Eustace, winning at Ballarat recently, and she's by Kingman.
Kingman indeed is the best racehorse from the Invincible Spirit branch of the Danzig Green Desert sire line that has done so well in Australia. And Calix is Kingman's fastest and most precocious son. Calix also boasts one of the fastest female families in Europe. His dam, Hella Borin, was a Group 3 winner of her first 3 races as a 2-year-old, before running second to dual Group 1 winning champion 2-year-old Misty For Me in the Prix Marcel Boussac. Hella Borin's full sister, African Rose, won the Group 1 Ladbrokes Sprint Cup and was the top-rated French sprinting filly of her year. Their uncle, Distant Music, was an unbeaten 2-year-old winner of the Dewhurst Stakes. And Calix's 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th dams all bed Group 1 winners. And that is the performance profile of any stallion aspiring to be the next I Am Invincible. Calix stands at only $16,000.
Okay, Frankie, so what was the first that you heard of Calix? I mean, did he identify himself as a very fast horse early?
And he ran a Newmarket, and I was blown away by what he did. And I think he ran about 10 days before Royal Ascot, and he went from a maiden straight to the deep end in the Coventry. And we knew that he had lots of talent, but unfortunately we weren't blessed with the best of draws, and most of the fancy horses were on the other side. And I was keeping an eye on the other group, and I got to a point that I had to commit. And he goes without saying the turn of foot that he showed. It was amazing, and also looking at afterwards, the form, he beat a horse called Advertise that I've been riding him since, and I managed to win a Group 1 at 2 and a 3. So the form was rock solid. We knew that we had a very talented horse then, and unfortunately he had an injury, so he had to be put away for the winter. My dream was basically it was going to be a July Cup horse. As you know, it's the only Group 1 race that I haven't won, so I had big plans, a big dream with him, and unfortunately it didn't materialize. But he came back from injury as a 3-year-old, and again he showed how talented he was when he won at Ascot, and unfortunately we didn't make it. My dream was shattered when I couldn't ride him in the July Cup, and he was a monster of a horse. And to a point that he was that good that we were toying with the idea of perhaps running him in the Guineas, and we did give him a racecourse gallop, but it was soon for us to realise that he was a sprinter, and we were going down to the sprinting route. So when he blew the field away, we weren't surprised because his own work was brilliant, and yes, he really from 2 to 3 he really developed into a real super horse.
Essentially, he was a Coventry Stakes winner, a Royal Ascot horse that, in your mind, was a July Cup horse.
And his form really stuck up. When you think he's beat Advertised in the Coventry, and I rode him in the July Cup and I finished second. So I mean, he has beaten some very good horses, and I'm sure he'll do really well in his new career of becoming a great stallion.
As do we. In fact, we see him as the next Danehill, Frankie. So I'm delighted you have such a high opinion of his speed. And thanks for talking to us. I appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Like Kingman, Magnier is a son of Invincible Spirit, and the only son of Invincible Spirit to win a Group 1 at 2 and also at 3, including the Guineas at Newmarket, James, which he won in a faster time than Frankel.
Ah, yes. And just take a look at him. That I Am Invincible-like head, the quality, the size, the scope of him, and that action. A gorgeous animal. This is the sort of classic thoroughbred we all aspire to breed. As you've said, a Group 1 winning 2-year-old of the Futurity Trophy at Doncaster, beating Group 1 milers Phoenix of Spain, who won the Irish 2000 Guineas, and Circus Maximus, came out at 3 as a Group 1 Guineas winning 3-year-old of the English 2000 Guineas at Newmarket, in a faster time than Frankel, winning by 3 lengths over Group 1 winners like King of Change, who won the Queen Elizabeth Stakes subsequently, 10 Sovereigns and Advertise.
10th 2000 Guineas for Aidan O'Brien, Dominic O'Brien on Magnier.
What can you tell us about the pedigree which leads to him becoming a successful stallion?
Well, he's by Invincible Spirit, sire of sires like I Am Invincible, who stands at 190,000 Australian dollars, and Kingman, who stands at 150,000 pounds. Of other sires like Lawman, Charm Spirit, Cable Bay, and Zebedee. And like Guineas winner and new sire sensation Knight of Thunder, Magnier is out of a mare by Galileo. His Dam Cabaret was a Group 3 winning 2-year-old by Galileo, and a half-sister to a Group winning 2-year-old. As Racing Post Bloodstock's James Thomas wrote, Magnier has a sublime pedigree 2 Group 1 wins on his CV, and a notably fluid action. While Timeform, who rated him 124, called him a most taking sort physically, robust and well-made, a bruiser of a colt. We certainly couldn't sum him up any better than that. And he stands at a fee of only $20,000.
Was he always a standout from early days? Did you know you had a good horse?
Absolutely. I suppose he was one of those unusual horses. His shape and his length and his scope and his body never changed much when we trained him, if you know what I mean. He came in looking like that, and as we trained him, he never lost much weight. He was natural, I suppose, from day one. He found everything very easily. Like, everything came very easy. He never got flustered, just did his work. His pace work was always very good, very natural and very sharp.
Most studs would love to stand a Group 1 winner at 2 and Guineas winner at 3. Well, we have another here in Saxon Warrior, and James, he's by a breed-shaping legend from one of Coolmore's great families and at a value fee.
It is indeed also the profile of much-loved Australian warrior, the Autumn Sun. He beat Group 2 winner Zusain to win the end-of-season Group 1 Atkins at 2. He beat the listed winner Vacillator in winning the Group 1 Caulfield Guineas at 3 and stands at a fee of $60,000. Saxon Warrior, whose fee of only $16,000 has to be value by comparison, similarly won the end-of-season Group 1 Racing Post Trophy at 2 from the magnificent Roaring Lion, and similarly won the Group 1 English 2000 Guineas at 3. Again from Roaring Lion, who incidentally won 4 Group 1 races, was champion 3-year-old colt and horse of the year. For good measure, behind those two were subsequent Derby winner Massar and Breeders' Cup Mile winner Expert Eye. And, like Magnier the following year, Saxon Warrior won that Guineas in faster time than Frankel.
We've got really similar performance profiles between Saxon Warrior, Magnier, and also the Autumn Sun, and that similarity extends to their pedigree profiles as well.
Yes, as regards their pedigree profiles, all three, Magnier, Saxon Warrior and the Autumn Sun, are by breed-shaping legends. All three, remarkably, are out of Galileo mares. Magnier is by Invincible Spirit out of the Group 3 winning 2-year-old Cabaret by Galileo. The Autumn Sun, by Redute's Choice, is out of the unraced Galileo mare. And Saxon Warrior, by Deep Impact, is out of unbeaten, Group 1 winning, champion 2-year-old Maybe by Galileo. Both the Autumn Sun and Saxon Warrior, moreover, have stakes-winning Grand Dams. The Autumn Sun's Grand Dam, a 3-year-old stakes winner over 2,000 metres. Saxon Warrior's Grand Dam, by Dane Hill incidentally, a 2-year-old stakes winner over 1,000 metres.
Those three also have a wide range of service fees. When you look, Saxon Warrior $16,000, Magnier $20,000, the Autumn Sun $60,000. How do you explain this, considering the similarities that you've outlined?
Well, in the case of Magnier $20,000 and Saxon Warrior's $16,000 fees, that's really a function of first versus second season. Saxon Warrior himself had started at $22,000 in his first season last year. But as for the gulf between Saxon Warrior at $16,000 and the Autumn Sun at $60,000, all one can offer is Australia's apparent preference for a homegrown Redute's Choice colt over European-raced colts by Invincible Spirit or Deep Impact. But it does also highlight Coolmore's commitment to providing horses of this calibre at what can only be deemed great value fees. Saxon Warrior, after all, is one of the fastest, most precocious and best sons of Deep Impact, champion sire of Japan for the past 8 seasons. And he does embody the influence of the 3 colossi who bestride the breeding world: Sunday Silence's Deep Impact, Sadler's Wells's Galileo, and Danzig's Dane Hill.
We have a third Group 1 winning 2-year-old who was also a Guineas winner at 3. And James, breeders are spoiled for choice here at Coolmore. Here we have Churchill. How do we distinguish between this outstanding son of Galileo and Magnier and Saxon Warrior?
Well, it's certainly an embarrassment of riches, because if there is, in this breeding business in Australia, anything that we hold as self-evident, it is that the best 2-year-olds and/or the best milers make the best sires. We'll come shortly to our Blue Diamond and Golden Slipper winners, successful sires already. But for proof that great milers make great sires, look no further than Redout's Choice, Zabeel, Lonhro or Piero, which is exactly why we're so excited by Churchill, Galileo's most precocious son, a dual Group 1 winning European champion 2-year-old. Galileo's only son ever to have won as a 2-year-old at Royal Ascot. Churchill won 5 black type races at 2, starting with the listed Chesham Stakes at Royal Ascot and culminating in a Group 1 double in Ireland and England, the Group 1 National Stakes at the Curragh by 4 lengths, and the Group 1 Dewhurst at Newmarket, in which he beat 4 Group 1 winners, and in faster time than Frankel and Teofilo. Remarkably, unbelievably, the very next year after Churchill clinched the European 2-year-old championship, his full sister, Clemmy, became the European champion 2-year-old filly. And where Churchill is Galileo's only Royal Ascot winning 2-year-old colt, Clemmy is Galileo's only ever Group 1 winner over 1,200 metres.
Well, it's the Stallion's pedigree that's certainly up there with the best, but where does all that speed come from, being a son of Galileo?
Well, their dam, by Stormcat, was herself second in the Group 2 Queen Mary at Royal Ascot, as a 2-year-old over 1,000 metres. Grandam Airwave was the champion 2-year-old filly, winner of the Group 1 Cheveley Park Stakes at 1,200 metres. She was also the champion 3-year-old sprinting filly, second to Choisir in the Golden Jubilee of his year at Royal Ascot. And Airwave was also half-sister to a Group 1 winner over 1,000 metres. It's a pedigree bursting with speed and precocity. Nor was Churchill wanting for class, returning as a 3-year-old for 2 Guineas wins. The English 2,000 Guineas, in which he beat 4 Group 1 winners, including Barney Roy, and the Irish 2,000 Guineas, in which he beat subsequent Dubai World Cup winner Thunder Snow. These, incidentally, are Europe's best sire-making races, previously won by horses like Frankel, Dubawi, and Kingman. Churchill won the English 2,000 Guineas in a faster time than Frankel,
But Churchill won the Guinea.
and the Irish 2,000 Guineas in a faster time than Dubawi or Kingman. And look at that physique. Look at the strength of it, the speed lines in him. His foals are the same, magnificent foals, with plenty of leg, yet powerful physiques and beautiful heads. We have seen the future of Galileo in Australia, and his name is Churchill, priced at only $17,500.
Next, we have a dual Group 1 winner as a 2-year-old. Like Redout's Choice, he won the Blue Diamond, and like Piero and Sebring, he won the Sire's Produce. But he's the only horse to win both those 2-year-old sire-making races, and he's already the champion first crop sire in Australia. Here is Pride of Dubai.
It sounds easy in hindsight, doesn't it? The fastest and best 2-year-old by champion sire Street Cry, sire of Zenyatta, American superstar, of Winx, Australian superstar, and of Group 1 milers like Huber Got You, Long John, etc. He's out of a mare by champion broodmare sire Danehill, and closely related to leading 2-year-old sires Invincible Spirit and Kodiak. He's from the family of 2019 champion European 2-year-old Pinatubo. What's to figure? Well, he's now the champion first crop sire of Australia, his progeny led by stakes winner Tanker. He's also a leading young first crop sire in the UK, progeny led by stakes winner Star of Emirati, who won the Group 3 Sweet Solera Stakes at Newmarket recently. He boasts 14 winners from that first crop, including stakes-placed Dubai Star from the Bott Waterhouse stable, Bella Nipotina from the Hayes Dabernig yard, as well as dual winners like Maha and Sense of Honour for Team McAvoy and Price Kent. Both of those look likely to earn black type as 3-year-olds this season. He's had impressive winners from Team Snowden, from the Chris Wallace stable, Nick Olive and others. 8 sons of Street Cry have already sired Group 1 winners, and Pride of Dubai has to be odds on to make that at least 9. His yearlings of 2020 sold to $620,000. 4 of them made over $500,000, 6 of them over $300,000, and 12 of them over $200,000. And his fee is only $35,000.
Our next stallion is the best son of Magnier, an unbeaten champion 2-year-old and Golden Slipper winner. Some say his stud career has started better than another of Australia's best leading young sires, Piero, Vancouver.
Well, statistically it certainly is true that Vancouver has kicked off his first season at stud well ahead of where Piero was at the same stage. Vancouver, from fewer runners than Piero, has significantly more winners and black type performers, the same number of black type winners and group winners. He also compares more than favourably with So You Think at the same stage of their first seasons. He boasts unbeaten Group 2 winning first crop 2-year-old Mount Pleasant, who won the South African nursery from the yard of Mike de Kock. The Bot Waterhouse yard houses a group performed pair in Postcode and Vangelic, both targeting Group 1 races come the spring, while Bob Peters has an unbeaten colt called Dunbar, now 2 for 2, with bigger fish to fry in the spring. Snowdens and Freedmans in Sydney are looking to the spring with Armatry and Exhibition respectively. Respected and successful syndicator Denise Martin of Star Thoroughbreds is on record as saying Vancouver could be on a similar trajectory to fellow Golden Slipper winner Piero. And he did, after all, like Piero, win the Breeders' Plate, the Todman in record time, and the Golden Slipper in the same time as Piero. He's the best son of world-class sire Medaglia d'Oro from a Danehill daughter of skating, the Doncaster winner and Australia's top-rated sprinting 3-year-old of her year. That's some CV for a horse who stands at only $27,500.
Well, we started with 2 Triple Crown winners, but they're not the only ones to stand here at Coolmore. The Australian Triple Crown winning champion 2-year-old from the 2011-12 season, who has emerged into one of the best young sires in the Southern Hemisphere, Piero.
From the listed Breeders' Plate win at 1,000 metres and the Group 2 Silver Slipper at 1,100 metres, Piero went on to win 5 races at Group 1 level, over 1,200, 1,300, 14, 15 and 1,600 metres. He became champion first crop sire with his first 2-year-olds. And it was a first crop that included 4 Group 1 winners. In Pierato, who won the Old Age Stakes and ran in the Everest. Pino, who won the VRC Oaks. Levendi and Furori, both of whom won derbies. There was another Group 2 derby winner in action, and a Golden Slipper place getter in Tulip. She too an Everest contender. Piero became champion second crop sire with another 2 Group 1 winners. Arcadia Queen, who won the Kingston Town Stakes and ran in the Everest, and Regal Power, Group 1 Railway Stakes winner and also a Group 2 Derby winner. He was champion third crop sire. That crop contained Group 1 winner Shadow Hero, who won both the Randwick Guineas and the Spring Champion Stakes, and now races in Hong Kong. From 3 crops then, Piero boasts 7 Group 1 winners, 4 Derby winners, 3 Everest contenders, 3 Guineas winners, an Oaks winner, and a Golden Slipper place getter. The vast majority of his group winners are from Danehill line mares, or have grandams by Danehill, and he's formed an unholy alliance with Redout's Choice mares. His yearlings of 2020 have sold to $840,000. 4 of them made over $500,000, 6 of them over $400,000, and 12 of them over $300,000. He's unquestionably a champion general sire in the making, gathering forces to conquer Snitzel and Fastnet Rock. He stands at a service fee of $125,000, a fee that is likely to rise as he continues his ascent up the ladder to champion sire.
Piero could well be a champion sire of the future, but our next horse is a proven multiple champion sire. He hardly needs an introduction, a marvel, a sire of sires, a son of the imperious Danehill, Fastnet Rock.
With 160 stakes winners, over 100 group winners, and 40 Group 1 winners around the world, he is, quite simply, Danehill's most prolific sire-son source of international Group 1 winners. He's the most accomplished sire of Southern Hemisphere stakes winners in Australia today. A proven sire of sires. 7 of his sons have already sired Group 1 winners. And he's a proven leading broodmare sire. In that department, he boasts Group 1 winners and performers, Santa Ana Lane, Tivachi, Ome Sword and others. Other leading brands, even at higher service fees, would have to come around again to match his record of multiple Group 1 winners like Merchant Navy and Atlantic Jewel, Mosheen, Sea Siren and the like. Of Weight for Age winners, 25 Group 1 winning 3-year-olds, more than 24 Group 1 winning sprinter milers. And he's still going strong in the sales ring. His 2020 yearlings sold to $750,000 and $700,000, with 4 of them making more than $600,000, 7 of them more than $500,000, and so on. He is truly a modern-day marvel of genetic generation. He's now packed away his Louis Vuitton luggage and will stay in Australia from this season onwards, right here at Coolmore, to live out his days. Meanwhile, there are still mares to be served, champions to be sired, and great battles to be won. We salute you, champ. Available at a service fee of $150,000. A living legend, Fastnet Rock.
Next we have a son of Fastnet Rock, considered to be his heir apparent. After all, it's his fastest son, a horse which won Group 1s in both hemispheres, the Diamond Jubilee at Royal Ascot and the Coolmore Stud Stakes at Flemington, Merchant Navy.
Not only is he Fastnet Rock's fastest and best son, he's his best bred son too. Bred on the same Fastnet Rock Snippets cross as Hinchinbrook, the same Danehill Snippets cross as champion sire Snitzel. And consider the evidence for Merchant Navy's claim to the throne of Fastnet Rock's heir apparent. An unbeaten stakes winner at 2. At 3, he won the Group 3 Magnier at Caulfield. Before that, dramatic last-to-first burst to win the Group 1 Coolmore, beating Invincible Star, Kementari, Trapeze Artist, Hootson and Catchy. And, lest we doubt the significance of that race in making successful stallions, remember that it was won by Encosta de Lago, Northern Meteor and Zoostar, and Merchant Navy won the race in a faster time than any of those. A faster time indeed than Brazen Bow, Sepoy and Star Witness. And off to Europe he went, where he ran only twice, winning the Group 2 Greenland Stakes at the Curragh. Before that memorable victory in the Group 1 Diamond Jubilee, another sire-making race, won also by Danehill, Choisir, Star Spangled Banner, not forgetting too the mighty mare Black Caviar. Merchant Navy ran faster time than any of those, earning a time form rating of 126, and no Australian 3-year-old was rated higher that year. And what depth of pedigree he boasts. Not only is he by Fastnet Rock out of a mare by Snippets and therefore bred on the same cross as Hinchinbrook and even Snitzel, but his Dam Legally Bay was a group-winning 2-year-old of the Golden Slipper lead-up, the Sweet Embrace. She was also 3rd in the very Group 1 Oakley Plate won by Fastnet Rock himself, and they met often thereafter, Merchant Navy's sire and dam, producing not only this awesome athlete, but also a Group 2 winning full sister Jolie Bay, and a $2.3 million sale-topping full brother to Merchant Navy, sold at Easter last year. As for Merchant Navy himself, his first crop, now just yearlings, has already produced at $210,000 the top-priced weanling at last month's Magic Millions weanling sale. A sire bound for glory, standing at only $40,000.
We looked at Yes, Yes, Yes earlier, and it's no mean feat to sire an Everest winner. Only two have done so, Snitzel and Rubik. He's one of Australia's most exciting young sires, and James, another stallion that's making it at stud that wasn't a Group 1 winner.
Not a Group 1 winner, admittedly, but nonetheless the highest rated 2-year-old colt of his generation. A horse blessed with blinding speed at 1,000 metres and 1,100 metres. And sire already of arguably the best sprinter on the planet last year, the Everest winner, Yes, Yes, Yes. Rubik is the sire also of Ruby Saki, herself touted as a possible Everest contender this year. And she the winner of the Group 2 VRC CUNY Stakes and the Group 3 ATC Bell Stakes and Car Stakes. He's the sire of Condo's Express, winner of the MVRC Mitchell Mackenzie Stakes and of the fast and precocious Kramerick. Speedsters like this lifted Rubik to the top of last season's second crop sire table, ahead of Deep Field and Brazen Bow. They made him the leading sire of 3-year-olds last season, ahead of such super sires as I Am Invincible, Fastnet Rock, Exceed and Excel and Snitzel. And nor is he likely to regress anytime soon, this son of Encosta de Lago out of a 3-quart sister to Redout's Choice. Bred therefore on the same pattern as successful sire Zoostar, who is by a son of Encosta de Lago out of a mare by Redout's Choice. Because at only $30,000 service fee, he remains perennially one of Australia's busiest sires, with so much more yet to come.
We've talked a lot about international stars and Australian speed horses, but how can we forget the Cox Plate? It's still the undisputed weight for age championship of Australasia, and here at Coolmore, 2 Cox Plate winners are on offer. And before Winks, there was the win of Adelaide in 2014 when Ryan Moore took off at the 1,000-metre mark and swooped the field and went down in history.
Yes, and who could ever forget a performance like that? Beating 10 Group 1 winners in a time faster than that run by any Entire in recent history in the Cox Plate, carrying 6.5 to 7.5 kilograms more than any other 3-year-old winner of the race, including So You Think, Octagonal and Savabeel. No wonder Timeform rated him 128, and no colt has rated higher in Australia in the last 4 seasons. Now, we're not pretending he'll be a major sire of Blue Diamond and Golden Slipper winners, though don't write it off, as his dam did win the Group 2 Queen Mary Stakes at Royal Ascot over 1,000 metres as a 2-year-old. But we do believe that he's odds on to keep producing top-class racehorses at 1,600 metres plus. Horses like Funstar, the apple of Chris Waller's eye, winner of the Group 1 Flight Stakes and Group 2 Far Lap and T Rose Stakes, one of the best fillies in all of Australia. He's by Galileo, 17 of whose sons, including Adelaide, have already sired Group 1 winners. He's bred on the same Galileo Danzig Scialine cross as Galileo's 2 best sire sons, Frankel and Teofilo. Where else will you find a resume like that for only $8,000?
We conclude with the horse that Bart built, a 10 times Group 1 winner in both hemispheres. By his 10th start, he'd won 2 Cox Plates, the best son of High Chaparral and one of the best young sires in Australia. So You Think.
Well, with prospect and promising, the 2 words most couple with Stallion, very few indeed ever earn the adjective proven, let alone thoroughly proven, in the way that So You Think has earned it. He has 24 stakes winners from his first 4 crops, at the remarkable average of 6 stakes winners per crop. There are 16 group winners, at an average of 4 group winners per crop, and a total of 6 Group 1 winners. 2 of them, Guineas winning colts, D'Argento and Inference, both now at stud. Australian Derby winner, Quick Thinker, the Group 1 Surround Stakes winner, Nikita Jane, and all of those stars are out of Danehill line mares. He's the sire of Australasian Oaks winner, Sopressa, and of New Zealand 1,000 Guineas winner, La Bella Diosa. He boasts other Group 1 class horses like Saucy Bon, Fasika, and Heavenly Thought. with daughter Realm of Flowers ready and waiting to join that throng. And what a heaven-sent horse he is to behold. Just look at this epitome of the thoroughbred racehorse, whom Bart Cummings himself went to his grave declaring the finest, most magnificent horse I ever had anything to do with. Who are we to disagree? So You Think stands at a fee of $35,000.
A versatile roster here at Coolmore, a stallion for every mare and a price for every pocket. It's been a privilege to be here. Thank you, James, and thank you, Tom.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, and Jared, wraps up our virtual stallion parade for 2020. We hope you enjoyed viewing your mare's suitors for love in the time of COVID. Thank you for your time and attention. Happy breeding and stay safe.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you, James. But a big thank you to all the staff at Coolmore. Not only do the stallions look amazing, but the farm does too. I'd like to invite you, when you get time, book an appointment to come and see the stallions. Simply call a member of the sales team or call the office and we'll be delighted to show you this marvellous lineup of stallions. Lastly, I'd like to make a special thank you to all of the people who've bred to our stallions. Without your support, we would not be where we are today. So thank you very much. Have a great breeding season and we hope to see you soon.